Okay, so I have chosen the theme of Nazi brutality. The first of three posters in this presentation is shown here. And so let's get into the description and analysis. Here we have a man whose wrists are chained, therefore rendering him immovable. A bag has also been placed over his head, so he has been effectively blinded as well. The passage which states, Radio Berlin, it is officially announced, all men of Lidice, Czechoslovakia have been shot, justifies the inference that this man is going to be murdered, along with every man in his village. If you read further, the passage also explicitly states that the women have been deported to a concentration camp, the children have been sent to appropriate centers, and that the name of the village has also been immediately abolished. This signifies that any evidence of the existence of Lidice has been eradicated. The man also appears to be in, for the want of a better word, building of sorts. Two walls are depicted to be surrounding him, but there happens to be no roof. This is suggestive that this is merely the area in which the Nazis have brought this man, accompanied with all the other men in his village, to be shot and killed. So basically, this man is in a killing ground or shooting ground. Why? Well, now let's go into the historical background. So this, succinctly, was an extremely brutal event. Hitler's third-in-command, Reinhard Heydrich, was ambushed by British-trained Czechoslovak paratroopers while driving through Prague and died as a result of his injuries several days later. So this enraged Hitler, and he ordered his men to find those responsible, and his orders regarding any communities harboring the assassins were to conduct the following: execute all men and boys above the age of 15, transport all women to a concentration camp, place children suitable for Aryanization into approved families, and level the entire village to the ground. The village of Lidice, several kilometers northwest of Prague, was chosen for exactly this treatment, despite there being no proof that the villagers were in any way connected with Heydrich's death. Early on the morning of the 10th, an SS task force surrounded Lidice and rounded up all the villagers. The women and children were transferred to Kladno, where they were separated. The 184 women were sent by train to Ravensbrück concentration camp, and the 88 children were sent to Lodz in Poland. In Poland, a handful of Lidice's children were selected for Germanization, and the rest were transferred to Chelmno, where they were gassed on the day of their arrival. Lidice's men and older boys were taken to the farmhouse of the Horak family on the edge of the village, where they were lined up against the wall of the barn and shot by a firing squad, 10 at a time. The dead were left where they fell, and the new groups of 10 were lined up without blindfolds until there were 173 dead bodies lying in the Horak's orchard. With the villagers gone, the village of Lidice was set alight. The foundations and anything else that didn't burn was later blown up or bulldozed until no trace remained. By year's end, all that was left of Lidice was empty land and prohibited entry signs. This is Nazi brutality. Ben Shahn, the creator of this poster, wished to stir feelings of awareness and cruelty of the existence of Nazi brutality. The poster clearly demonstrates how ruthless they were in administrating their punishments and the fear they imposed upon the people they oppressed. This poster makes Nazi brutality real to the one who is analyzing it, and it certainly is effective in sending the message it wants. This powerful image depicts a crowd of French working men raising their arms as if under arrest. And behind them, that red poster on the wall, is an official decree posted from the Vichy government. This shows that they, the French, have been overpowered by Nazi Germany, one of their enemies during World War II. Ben Shahn, the creator of this poster, said in his own words, "I found that I must paint those things that were meaningful to me, that I could honestly paint in the shapes and colors I felt belonged to them. What shall I paint? Stories." And this indeed is the story of how the French occupation contributed to America's decision to enter the war. So these posters influenced America to participate in the war, and this greatly swayed the final outcome of it. The Allies, composed of the Soviet Union, America, and Great Britain, won. This poster was just one of the thousands produced and distributed by the Office of War Information during World War II to persuade the American people to support the war effort against the Axis powers, Nazi Germany, the Kingdom of Italy, and the Empire of Japan. To get these messages out, however, the federal government turned not to its employers or to its military. The government utilized the American people. The massive distribution of posters across the United States during World War II was a challenge. The OWI realized that the posters had to be placed in street-level windows of every office, store, restaurant, and service establishment of every kind in the United States in order to reach the greatest number of people. Before President Roosevelt established the Office of War Information by executive order on June 12, 1942, 4 different federal agencies distributed government information to the public: the Foreign Information Service, the Office of Facts and Figures, the Office of Government Reports, and the Division of Information of the Office of Emergency Management. By combining so many different divisions, branches, and offices into one central organization, Roosevelt sought to avoid conflicting and confusing government statements. The president had cause for concern because conflicting reports about the loss of naval vessels and the number of lives lost at Pearl Harbor surfaced. The American people began to doubt the official reports from the U.S. government. To establish the trust of the people, President Roosevelt created the OWI and directed it to develop information programs to foster an informed and intelligent understanding, at home and abroad, of the status and progress of the war effort and of government's war policies, activities, and aims. OWI's goal was ambitious: to place posters in every city and town across the United States. The agency's plan called for an ongoing system of distribution. Posters would be exchanged for new ones every 2 weeks. To accomplish its goal, the OWI formed a national retail committee with local chapters in cities and towns across the United States. Each local committee would establish the necessary distribution outlets. For the plan to work, enthusiastic involvement of citizens was crucial, and many obliged. This poster was created by Ben Shahn, apparently the maker of the previous poster as well, to show the detriments of not fighting or surrendering to the Nazis. Therefore, he wished to inform the consequences rather than stir any emotions. However, this poster did stir America into action in fighting World War II and was extremely effective in that aspect. The title of this piece is The Sowers by Thomas Hart Benton, created in 1942. It is one of a series of 8 paintings in which Benton portrayed the barbarity of fascism. The main component of this piece is the 3 big men each getting smaller in the distance. Each man is throwing skulls to a barren land, which is ironic because there are electrical wires in the background, either meaning that there are death camps, which would go with the skulls, or civilization nearby, so it is not completely barren. To me, the 3 big men represent the Nazis, who are burying the dead by distributing the bones. Just like the title provides, the men are sowers. They are sowing the bones. The men are also very inhuman. They look along the lines of giants who are half dressed in uniform, with their faces and necks thick and over-exaggerated. They also have eyes that are small and bellies that are big, with the skin stretching over the bellies and ribs. Each man is carrying a bag of skulls that is attached to the men's hips as they throw the skulls. I think the purpose of this piece is to show how fascism ruled and how they destroyed human beings like they weren't even human, with the giant men being the destroyers. It is also used as an example of why this should not happen, and they use the men to show cruelty and ruthlessness, and also inhumanity, everything that nobody wants and despises. The creator also wished to stir emotions of dislike and also awareness of the detriments of fascism. I think this poster didn't get the message across very well. Some may have understood it, but many would not have, because this poster is admittedly very hard to decipher and understand.